Hello there, kia ora. Are you angry yet? Because that's what the far right have been trying to make you feel over the past few days. Sure, some of them are licking their wounds after a terrible end to last week, where Destiny Church lost a court battle over Wellington's Rainbow Crossing, and Destiny Link thugs were put in the dock for their alleged assault at the Te Atatū Community Centre. And pro disease nutters were angry at a doctor who didn't believe in viruses being deregistered in order to pay court costs after using her platform and credentials to spread disinformation and profit off it. But they're also pushing back with a raft of rage farming at every level. Tamaki's been raging online about how he and his sheep are at war with woke because the law won't back up his hate campaigns. We've had a Matamata Piako district councillor who ran for both New Conservatives when they wanted to billet single mothers to family members until they found a man to take them in, and New Zealand First at the last election after they sidled up to the tinfoil hat brigade, make waves online for telling Māori in his learned opinion, since he's read both versions of Te Tiriti, that they ceded sovereignty, showing that there's a big difference between seeing and understanding, which should give voters pause about how he goes about making informed decisions on their behalf, but it does speak directly to the sort of people who voted him in because he felt persecuted about vaccines. Tauranga MP Sam Uffindale came out swinging to put a members' bill in to stop the rampant rise in giving extra votes to people based on ethnicity. Oh, in case you're wondering, here is a list of current councils which actually allow people to have more than one vote. Yeah, that's all of them. Okay, here's a list of councils which have extra votes because of people based on their ethnicity. Uh, because in law, people who own property in a region they don't live in, they get extra votes in local body elections, but votes based on ethnicity, that doesn't happen anywhere. And Uffindale isn't proposing changing the law about property owners for some reason, but racist dog whistles in a local election year where they can't vilify three waters in co-governance, and Active announced that they'll be openly campaigning candidates, drowning out National again. Well, the National Party has to try something to stay relevant and keep people mad. David Seymour's latest ACT newsletter goes full incel, with a newsletter claiming that women have better academic success rates because women are more likely to be educators, so they clearly oppress boys, and that's why the rates of academic success in men is lower. And DEI and the rainbow community, fat shaming, and Maori outcomes are all mentioned in there as well. And of course, fresh from the most pointless foreign affairs mission ever, old man Winston Peters got back from the United States of Donald Trump and gave another State of the Nation speech where he dribbled about DEI, claimed that they were going to take New Zealand back. You know, the holder of the second most senior office in the country was going to take the country back from the government he's in. Oh, and let's not forget the dangers of woke. He tried to downplay his part in law changes that have upset his Cooker follower base that don't believe in viruses but do believe in woke and how it's coming to get them. Oh, and he acted like a petulant child about Chippy and the Labour Party because it gets him cheers from people who think that less than 1% of the population are a bigger threat to kids in bathrooms than members of Tamaki's church, despite all the evidence to the contrary, all while telling pro-Palestinian protesters that they were fascists. You know, that far-right, hyper-nationalist authoritarian regime characterized by a dictatorial leader, a centralized autocracy, forcible suppression of opposition, the belief in a natural social hierarchy, the subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the country, and forced regimentation of society. Anger and rage are powerful emotions, and rage farming keeps people angry over the stupidest things. And to keep people angry, you end up having to keep giving them bigger and more elaborate villains to rage at and suspend belief in reality and facts to make it possible. And keeping them angry keeps politicians relevant. Algorithms feed on it, engagement rates are driven by it. And this year, we have two big events happening that means some politicians will be doing their level best to keep in headlines or keep being fed to you by algorithms. In a couple of months, we change deputy prime ministers. Seymour and Peters are both vying for very similar voting brackets, and both ACT and New Zealand First have suffered in the past from losing support when in government. And the latest polls have seen New Zealand First right on the threshold and ACT take a beating in the ACT-aligned taxpayer union Curia poll from the polling company no longer registered as a political pollster by the regulatory body. They always somehow manage to find ACT has 2 or 3 more points of popularity than all the other polls. Adding to that, though, on Tuesday, we see the new proposed electoral map redrawing, which could impact voter patterns significantly. The North Island is going to lose a seat, probably in Auckland due to population movement, and the South Island will gain one. But all maps are being redrawn, so the pressure on parties and politicians to plan around potential changes is high. And the pressure to stay relevant at the risk of changing electoral patterns is huge. The second reason, though, for all this noise, well, it's the local body elections. For some people, this is an effort to be re elected, but for others in central government, they'll be looking at the results as a weather vane and how the general public are looking at the government. After all, a number of local authorities are being forced to hold referenda on changes that this government has made them do around Māori wards, while dealing with central government changes on everything from how sanctions on benefits and the way that they treat the worst off in society through to resource management and planning. While the low voter turnout at these often relies on name recognition, the loudest people get the most votes. It is possible, though, that the outcomes could very well see voters sending a message to central government that maybe they need to start packing leading into the election year of 2026. So that means we need to expect more of this bullshit to come. More dog whistles, more ignorance, more targeting of people that they want to vilify because they see them as easy targets. So get yourself brushed up on facts, data, evidence, and teach yourself to stay calm because rage drives their narrative and keeps their gullible followers listening to them and voting for them. There's a reason why the top fan awards on mainstream media pages are usually held by those supporting the rage farming. They comment, share, and interact a lot. But that doesn't mean that the people who believe the rage bait and spread it are the majority. It just means that they're the loudest. And we can combat that with information, data, facts, and reality. Hey, thanks for checking out today's video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe so you get more updates as we go along. We deal with these guys for the rest of the year.